It is 11:43 p.m. on a Tuesday. The room is dark, save for the harsh, artificial blue glow of your smartphone illuminating your face. You're lying in bed, exhausted from a job that demands too much and pays too little, and you're doing the one thing guaranteed to make your psychological state worse. You are scrolling. You see your college roommate, the one who never seemed to study, posting a panoramic video from a rooftop bar in Miami, holding a cocktail that costs more than your hourly wage. You swipe up. There's your coworker, a guy who started 6 months after you, leaning against a brand new Tesla Model Y with a caption about blessings and hustle. Swipe up again. Your neighbor, the one with the golden retriever and the perfect teeth, is posting renovation photos of a kitchen that was already nicer than yours, ripping out granite to put in quartz. Meanwhile, you're digesting a dinner of leftover pasta that you stretched for 3 days, and you're doing mental arithmetic to figure out if you can afford to fill your gas tank and buy groceries in the same week. The question gnaws at you, a silent, corrosive anxiety in the pit of your stomach. What is going on here? How is everyone affording this? Did you miss a meeting where they handed out trust funds? Are you the only person in this economy who checks their bank account with one eye closed, terrified of the numbers staring back? Welcome to the masquerade. Welcome to the great American hallucination. The answer to your question, how is everyone affording this, is going to make you feel a hell of a lot better about your own finances. But it is also going to make you question everything you thought you knew about wealth, success, and the structural integrity of the modern economy. Because here's the cold, cynical truth that Diabolical Invest is going to lay out for you. Most of what you are seeing is not real. It is a Potemkin village. It is a stage set constructed of cheap lumber and expensive debt. We're going to peel back the skin of this economy and look at the rotting meat underneath. I'm going to show you the actual numbers, the raw data that the influencers and your bragging neighbors conveniently leave out. And I promise you, by the time we are done here, you will stop feeling behind. You will start feeling like the only sane person in an asylum. Walk through any upper-middle-class suburban neighborhood in America. You know the ones. The frantic architectural mishmash of brick and vinyl siding. The 3,000-square-foot monuments to excess with manicured lawns that look like golf courses. You see the luxury SUVs in the driveway, the Ring doorbells monitoring the perimeter, the solar panels signaling virtue and tax credits from the roof. The visuals are screaming success. They're screaming stability. But let me tell you what those houses actually represent in the year 2025. They represent financial quicksand. They are beautiful, painted cages. Let's look at the data, not the vibes. According to 2025 metrics from the Census Bureau and the mortgage industry, the median home price in the United States is hovering stubbornly around $400,000. Now, in the fantasy land of personal finance textbooks written in the 1990s, you would put 20% down on that house. That is an $80,000 check. Do you have $80,000 sitting in a savings account? Neither do they. Most buyers are scraping together 3% to 5%, sometimes even less using FHA loans or other leverage instruments. That means they are financing nearly the entire purchase price. They are starting a race with a ball and chain tied to their ankle. Run the numbers on a $400,000 mortgage at current rates, which are hovering roughly around 7%. We aren't in the 3% paradise of 2020 anymore, and we aren't going back. At 7%, the principal and interest alone is crushing. You're looking at a monthly payment of around $2,600. But wait, we haven't fed the other monsters yet. Add in property taxes, which are skyrocketing across the country as local governments try to plug their own deficits. Add in homeowners insurance, which has doubled in some states due to climate risk. Add in the HOA fees to pay for the pool you never use. That payment easily climbs to $3,200 or more. Now let's look at the income. For a person making the median full-time income in this country, which is about $60,000 a year, that is $5,000 per month gross. Before taxes, after Uncle Sam takes his cut, after health insurance, after the 401k contribution you're told you have to make, your take-home is probably $3,800. If your housing costs are $3,200 and your take-home is $3,800. Do the math. You have $600 left for food, gas, electricity, internet, and life. The old rule of thumb, the one our grandparents used, was that housing should never exceed 30% of your gross income. For a $60,000 earner, that is $1,500 a month. These people living in these suburban fortresses are blowing past that limit by 40, 50, sometimes 60%. They are not wealthy. They are house poor. They are indentured servants to the bank, living in a mansion where they can't afford to turn up the thermostat. Every dollar is spoken for before it even hits their direct deposit. The house isn't an asset. At this level of leverage, it is a liability that you sleep inside. But the house is just the foundation of the illusion. It's the stage. Now we need the props. Let's talk about what is parked in the driveway, because cars might be the single biggest lie detector in personal finance. And right now, the needle is off the charts. A new car screams, "I have made it." It implies liquidity. It implies disposable income. But in 2025, the average new car payment in the United States has breached $730 per month. For the trucks and SUVs that dominate American roads, the Tahoes, the F-150s, the Defenders, it is often over $1,000 a month. How is this happening? It's happening because we broke the math. 36-month loans used to be standard, then 48. Now, 72-month loans are the baseline, and we're seeing a terrifying rise in 84-month loans. That is 7 years. People are financing a depreciating asset for 7 years. They will be paying for that car when it has 100,000 miles on it. Let's say you are financing a $50,000 SUV, which is completely normal in today's skewed market. At 7% interest over 6 years, you are paying over $900 a month. But the payment is just the entry fee. Insurance on a new finance vehicle is skyrocketing, averaging around $200 a month. Gas, if you are commuting, is another $200. Maintenance, even on a new car, adds up. You're easily at $1,300 a month minimum just to own and operate that vehicle. For someone making $60,000 a year, $1,300 a month is over 25% of their gross income. Combined with that $3,200 mortgage setup we just talked about, you are at $4,500 a month in just housing and transportation. You have already spent more than you make. You are bleeding out, and we haven't even talked about food, utilities, student loans, or the 17 streaming services. This is how people are affording their lifestyles. They aren't. They are financing the appearance of wealth while living in a state of permanent, low-grade financial emergency. They are one HVAC failure, one medical bill, one layoff away from total collapse. Now, the skeptics among you might be thinking, okay, diabolical invests, you're being dramatic. Surely some people actually have money. What about net worth? Don't people build wealth over time? Yes, they do, but not nearly as much as you think, and certainly not enough to justify the spending we see on Instagram. The Federal Reserve releases the Survey of Consumer Finances, and the data is staggering in how low the numbers truly are. For Americans under the age of 35, the prime demographic for flexing on social media, the median net worth is around $39,000. That is not cash in the bank. That includes everything. It includes the theoretical equity in the house they can't sell, the 401k they can't touch for 30 years. It includes the checking account, the savings account, and the loose change in the couch cushion. Most people in this age group have essentially zero liquid wealth. They are asset-heavy and cash-poor. Move up to the 35 to 44 age bracket. The median net worth climbs to about $135,000. That sounds better, right? It sounds like six figures. But peel it back. For homeowners, the vast majority of that number is tied up in home equity. You cannot buy groceries with home equity. You cannot pay for a vacation with home equity unless you take on more debt. Liquid net worth, the actual cash, stocks, or bonds you could access in an emergency, is often a fraction of that number. Even in the 45 to 54 age range, people in their peak earning years, the median net worth is only around $247,000. That means half of the households in the richest country in the history of the world have less than $250,000. The Instagram influencer lifestyle you are comparing yourself to is statistically impossible for 95% of the population. Here is another piece of the puzzle that nobody talks about: the dirty little secret of the millennial and Gen Z economy. According to recent data, about one-third of adults aged 18 to 34 are living with their parents. One-third. That is not a fringe statistic. That is a demographic shift. Living at home eliminates rent.